I recently was part of a group discussion between men, and I was witnessing one man giving advice to another man. And the man who was receiving the advice became offended. He didn't say it right away, but he let me know later he felt hurt by the advice he had received. And it made me think about how the world is a reflection of our consciousness. That one way to think about life is that we see mirrors everywhere we go. When we look at another person, in a way we're seeing a reflection of ourselves and our own mental state, our own emotional state. So the things that we don't accept and love in ourselves, we're going to not accept and love when we see them in other people, reflected back to us. It's very common. Maybe it's universal. And I could see that the man who was giving the advice meant well. There was no offense intended at all behind what he was saying. And in fact, I could see how it was very likely a condition of him trying to coach himself. He was trying to encourage himself not to do what he was saying to this other man not to do. But the other man took it personally and felt hurt by it. It just can help so much to realize that, and this is just a perspective, but that it's really all just perspective. It's just a mirror. This one man is feeling ashamed of how he has been handling a situation in his life, perhaps. I don't know if we could say he was ashamed, but he felt something about it. I can tell that. He wasn't proud. And so when he saw a version of it reflected in this other man, he spoke about it. It gave advice. Try not to do this so much. And that man was offended. But it's such a different perspective to see it as one person giving advice to themselves through another person. It changes the way we can handle everything. It can really depersonalize what otherwise might be taken as very offensive or personal. And I personally find that to be very useful. It's when we're really polarized about something, we have really strong emotional reactions to opinions or behaviors, especially of other people. It's not necessarily a fun experience. I mean, I guess you could say you might get some kind of juice out of being offended or animated, angry, charged. It can give you a lot of energy to do something with, but it can also be very stressful and irritating, and it can also be very confusing to take personally what is not meant to be personal at all, to be offended by something that's not intended to be offensive, and it can create confusion. Like now there's going to be some kind of tension between these two men where there doesn't need to be at all. It's just perception. It's all, again, it's like a creation, One person created I like to think of it as like an art project, like a piece of art. Like, look what I did. I took this guy's well-meaning advice that was probably for himself, and I turned it into this project of, now I'm hurt and offended, and I can't even talk to him, and I've got to stress about it and wonder, what does this mean, and try to figure it out, and question myself and worry if I'm actually doing what I'm being advised not to do, and this guy is not really in his right mind to say this about me, and who is he to talk, and on and on and on. I mean, you can see anywhere you go these days so much political conflict, argument, fighting, maybe even violence, just exactly over this. One person's thinking a certain way, speaking a certain way, and we can take it personally, like it's highly offensive to us. But if you can shift your mind and think, well, this is a reflection of their consciousness, it can change the way you really think about and see the world, the behavior of other people, and not take it personally. And it reminds me of how I saw a video a long time ago about the Iraq War. In the midst of it, I could probably find this, but it had to do with, I believe, Iraqis and American soldiers both watching the movie Star Wars, and both of them seeing themselves as part of the Rebel Alliance fighting against the Empire, which is pretty ironic. It's like nobody sees themselves as the bad guys, really. I mean, obviously some people have this self-concept, again, like maybe guilt and shame, but generally speaking, I think most people operate from this sense that they are doing good, that they are doing right, they are justified in their behaviors. And it kind of doesn't matter who they are or where they are, who they're even fighting on behalf of. They see themselves this way. But we also then tend to other people and make them out to be bad guys. Like, I'm a good guy fighting against the bad guys. Which to me just shows a lack of self-awareness. It's incomplete, because that's a fantasy. It's like a bullshit template that has nothing to do with reality. I mean, it's a semi-useful way of thinking about things, but it's not very empowering to just see yourself as this hero who's merely fighting against bad people. Because if everybody is that, then it can't really be true. It's just a lens, it's a perspective, it's not real. It's very useful to tell stories with. It's very useful for galvanizing people behind a certain force or campaign. But ultimately, it also dehumanizes other people and disempowers one if all they can do is think, well, this person is doing this because they're evil, because they're bad. I mean, again, I think those labels, they're useful, but they're kind of stupid. It's just perspective, and it can be shifted. If you are one person's good guy and you're another person's bad guy, then who is right? It's just perspective. It's not real. It can be changed, and if it can be changed, it's not real. It's just like a story that you can edit, you can rewrite. And we can quibble over what is absolute truth and the nature of morality and good and evil and all of that stuff and whatever. But when it comes down to actually looking at behavior and your life and what works best, what gives you the most empowerment and the most choice and decision and allows you to get along best in the world, you might find some benefit from letting go of those labels and also realizing that so much of what we do is projection and mirroring, and the things that we don't love and accept in ourselves, when we see it reflected in other people, it's easy to criticize and attack it instead of looking at how it's merely a reflection of who we are. There's a interesting verse in the New Testament, Jesus' words about, and it's very popularly known, that has to do with judge not. Before you try to take the sliver out of your neighbor's eye, pull the log out of your own eye. And I see that as an interesting illustration for this concept, that people take it as a command, like, you shall not judge. But another way to look at it is, it's a delusional exercise to be judging other people, because all you're really doing is judging yourself. And if you imagine a sliver, a tiny piece of wood in somebody else's eye, if it's in your own eye, it's going to appear as a log. It's going to be much bigger. It's right up there, but you could miss it, like you miss the forest for the trees. It's too close. It's much easier to see in somebody else. So if you can let go of this projection and recognize that you work on yourself first, then it clears up your lens, and it clears how you perceive other people and their behaviors, and even how you perceive what they say to you about you. You realize that they're speaking about themselves to you. Anyway, I hope that helps.